New and important guidance from USCIS that you must hear about if you are starting your process or you're already inside the process because it takes effect immediately. And thank you to our sponsor for today's video, Journey, a company leading the space of professional and business plans, for example, for EB-2 NIW. More on them later. Let's start. Hi everyone, welcome to USCIS Green Card today with a video that is really important on RFEs, on NOIDs, and you need to hear about it because it will change how you should strategize for your case. But in case you were never here, I'm Oscar, not a lawyer, and in this channel we talk about green cards like EB-2 NIW or EB-1A in which you can be the owner of your immigration future. If you want more resources, go to oscarsgreencard.com to start your process today. And now on USCIS, first of all, because we're going to talk about RFEs a lot in this video, even if it's a short video, you should know that our request for evidence is this type of letter sent by USCIS requesting more information from you, the applicant. So this is the officer opening your file and not being convinced that either everything is there in terms of documentation or your arguments and your credentials are not sufficient, in their opinion, to meet the standards that you need to meet. This is a screenshot from a real RFE, and it can apply to any form. We're talking about I-140s, but also adjustment of status, all types of visas, citizenship, you name it. And for example, for EB-2 NIW, which is the main protagonist of this channel, we're talking about deficiencies like the advanced degree is not properly substantiated, or you don't meet exceptional ability according to the officer, or one or more of the three prongs have any issue. It could also be issued because you are missing a form, for example, ETA 9089, which is mandatory, or any other exhibits, or you're missing translations, or diplomas, or transcripts, whatever it is, they will issue an RFE. Some RFEs cover very specific parts of your documents, and some RFEs are super broad and affect all prongs of the matter of Danazar. And then for EB-1A, common reasons are one or more criteria are not met according to the officer. Remember, there are 10 criteria and you have to meet at least 3 of them, and or you are not meeting the final merits determination. That's when the officer sits down and evaluates your whole profile and decides if you are extraordinary or not. And now that you know what an RFE is, and by the way, an NOID is similar but more extreme, is called Notice of Intent to Deny. That's USCIS saying you're going to be denied. But once we know these terms, you have to know that yesterday, August 5th, USCIS issued policy guidance that modifies the policy manual for officers, and it refers to RFEs and NOIDs. And once again, we have seen so many now with this administration. This is a restrictive interpretation. They are giving more leverage to officers and they are making the interpretation of the law more restrictive, so more cases will be denied in practice. This is the policy alert. Important thing is that it is effective immediately and it applies also to pending cases, which is not that common. Sometimes when they issue this kind of guidances, they say, well, this is not retroactive, and they actually say it will take effect maybe 1 month or 2 from now. This one is in effect since yesterday, and if you have submitted an I-140, for example, and it hasn't been adjudicated, you are affected by this policy, so listen carefully. These are the main points. Officers can now deny without an RFE. In the past, officers would always send a request for evidence even if they had the intention of denial. At least an NOID, but most of the times in EB-2 NIW and EB-1A, it would be an RFE. And that would give you a second chance, and that's why we always said an RFE is not bad, it's another chance for you to convince them that you do qualify. Now they don't have to do that, so we may observe more straight denials. Now, second point is that the 12-week deadline that usually the petitioner had until now it becomes the ceiling, the maximum time that you may have. But you will need to read your letter. Your RFE, always at the top of the RFE, tells you what the deadline is. And what USCIS is doing now is telling the officers, you don't have to give them 12 weeks, you can give them less than 12 weeks. And before we continue, let's have a quick break to talk about our sponsor today, Journey, a company that makes business and professional plans for EB-2 NIW. One of the hardest parts in the process is turning your background into a credible plan that tells a clear story. what you'll do in the US, why it's important, and how you will execute it. We have been collaborating with Journey in our online courses for over 2 years now because we have seen their work and trust their professionality. You can see it by yourself. You can check the samples of their work on their website. Click on the link in the description below or use the QR code on screen. And if you navigate to EB-2 NIW business plans, you will find out that they will offer a 10 to 12 business day turnaround time, and they will produce a 30 to 50 page document that you can attach to your I-140 petition package. Journey is trusted by countless immigration lawyers to support the writing process, and you can do the same as a do-it-yourself petitioner. We are thankful to Journey for their support as a quarterly sponsor of this channel. Check them out using the link below. Number 3 is that in the past there was a grace period for everyone. It was 3 days, and that's to account for slow mailing processes. But if you lived abroad, that grace period was 14 days because we know that it takes longer and some countries really have infrastructure issues to get the mail delivered to you. Now they're saying exception no more. Now everyone will get only the 3 days period if the RFE is mailed. And number 4, partial or incomplete RFE responses are considered final. They are going to consider whatever you send them first. They are going to consider that that's your RFE response. So you cannot just say, hey, I now remember that I needed to send this other thing. Here you go. No, they're going to start adjudicating based on that initial package that you sent. And this is probably the most reasonable part of the whole thing. You can read the whole document here. You have this link in the description below, so you can do it at your own pace as usual. But now a few interpretations from Oscar. Number 1 is just to show what is the USCIS argument. They say that all of this is to reduce what they call frivolous or placeholder applications, people that submit an application that is not really ready, maybe to get an EAD card or just to gain some time and then submit more information under an RFE. I think this argument is quite weak. I think what is happening is that they are cutting the workforce so much and their processing times are so bad that they are just going to reduce the number of times they go through a case by just denying more cases upfront. And also, this is just part of the anti-immigration agenda. They are making all cases a little bit harder, and they are sending the signal to people that they are ready to deny more cases, so you think twice before submitting yours. Consequences for you, the petitioner. Well, we still need to see how the implementation works. We know what the document says. You can read it yourself, but we don't know, will this really increase dramatically the number of denials, so they reduce the number of RFEs? How are they going to implement it? Are they going to go extreme with this, or are they going to be reasonable with this? Are they going to just deny it upfront, those cases that are missing a form or some very important document? Or are they going to look at the matter of Dansar, for example, in EB-2 NIW and say, well, you don't really qualify, you are denied, and if you want, resubmit it again? There's many ways this could go, and we need to still see and be cautious about it. And like I was saying earlier, this is just one step further into making process look a little bit more difficult, because that's really an ideological stance of this administration, and this will be in place, this kind of ideology will be in place until the next government takes over in January 2029. And remember that they could win again, so we don't know if it's going to go further. This basically gives the officer once again more discretion, and basically it makes the process even more subjective. So my view here is that your initial filing should be as strong as possible and as well documented as possible. Don't count on an RFE to add more evidence, because it may not happen. You may be denied straight away. So go with everything you have first. And that includes high quality educational resources that you can take. And I'm talking, of course, about our courses in EB-1A, RFE, or our platform to prepare your petition in a good way, in a way that is effective and that doesn't miss any important point. Then consider adding independent expert opinions. They are important, they are still important, and they don't substitute hard evidence, but they give that hard evidence another level of importance. And then professional and business planning, EB-2 NIW, really important. I have been saying it for months now. For me, it's now mandatory, quote unquote. It's not, but I would always have a plan. No matter if your profile is strong, I will still have a plan. So consider adding a well-crafted professional plan, and that's why our sponsor today is Journey, who can help you with that kind of document. So budget all those things. If you need to seek external help for a professional plan or for an independent expert opinion, budget that in when you are thinking about the process, because you really want to go in with a good case. And then the 12-week period for response is not a guarantee anymore after this, so you may need to work faster in your RFE stage. So pay attention when you get the RFE letter, pay attention to the deadline, and pay attention if you don't get the RFE fast, because the clock is ticking from the moment they send the RFE. So if you don't get it in the mail, be proactive and request it directly from USCIS, a soft copy. So you need to understand what they are asking so you can work on the RFE, you can enroll in our course, and you can start working on that. So now the question is for you, what do you think about all of this? Do you think that this is another step into making things harder? Is this on purpose? Is this an ideological stance? Do you think it is reasonable? I don't really think so. I think the RFE stage was really nice. Maybe some people abuse of it, but I think it's the minority of people. What USCIS should really do is to work hard and use your money wisely, because you are paying with your fees, you're paying for the agency's work, not the government. And they are not delivering. Look at the processing times. They're getting longer and longer. It's madness. It's taking 2 years now to adjudicate a regular processing case. They are forcing people to go premium and pay $3,000 more, and they are not doing a good job. Now, that being said, if you are going all in this process, EB-2 NIW, we have a great platform that you should take a look at. And actually, I'm going to leave you with a quick ad so we can finish there, so you can join us and start working on your process today. Thank you for listening and have a great one.
Do you want to embark on your green card journey as a do-it-yourself petitioner without a lawyer? Check out USCIS Green Card, where you can find many resources to get you started. In our store, you can find our introduction course if you're not sure what category fits your profile. There you can learn everything about EB-1A and EB-2 NIW. If you're ready and you know EB-1A is for you, go to the EB-1A course, a step-by-step tutorial on how to write your petition. For EB-2 NIW, we have a full platform where you can work on your process, upload your files, and get your draft generated following our methodology. We also have an RFE course for EB-2 NIW if you are affected by a request for evidence in this category. So what are you waiting for? Join us and get your process done.